This is the Business Owners IT Podcast with Anthony Garish and Ryan Carter, where tomorrow's technology meets today's conversations.
I am Tony Garish.
And I'm Ryan Carter, and this is the Business Owners IT Podcast.
A podcast where we discuss tips, tricks, and solutions for business owners involving all things tech.
All right, what's the number one call, the quickest way for us to get a phone call?
A user not getting their email.
My email is not working.
Or my emailer is down.
If your email is down, that is the quickest way. And all the communication methods out there, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, text message, all this. If your email does not get to where it's going, I will get a phone call. You will get a phone call right away.
Yeah.
It is by far the easiest way. And now, year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that, Google put out that all emails going to them had to have certain records put on. But it looks like more people are starting to require this.
Yeah.
Maybe I can bounce it to you, Tony, and we talk a little bit.
Yeah. So, if you think about it, right, if you think about the process, if you're sending out emails or sending out proposals or you're getting proposals or getting invoices and whatever you're sending, whether it's inbound or outbound, aren't getting to their end users, the question becomes why, right? Why is this customer not getting my invoices? Or why am I not receiving this customer? And the rules for email is like the most insecure thing you can do anyways, in my opinion. But, and most unreliable thing. I know everybody relies on it, but it's, you never really know if it reaches the other side. But aside from all of that, if you don't get an email, right, or you don't get a request for a proposal, why is it not coming through? Well, they kind of changed the rules, right? So you can kind of kick it off, right? You can talk a little bit about, when we onboard a customer, right? What do we do for their email? Let's just do that. Hey, if we bring a customer on, what do we do to make sure that they're going to get their email?
Well,
am I throwing you on the spot?
No, it's a loaded question, right? Because like you got your spam filtering is always it's an important piece of our sales process. We probably wouldn't close you without, we probably wouldn't have you as a customer if you didn't have some type of spam filtering. Because like he says, it's unreliable and also like people, that's the easiest way to get attacked, phish, blah, blah, blah. Watch every episode before this is all we talk about. So we want that spam filtering, right? Once we have that going, we start putting records on the internet to let people know that an email from you is from you so that they know that. And when we're talking about, like when we talk about these records, like an SPF record, sender policy framework, it's just a little record that goes in your DNS entry on the internet. So like if you have GoDaddy or whatever for your email and you have DNS there, you put this little record in that just says that if it came from this server, it is legitimate. That's all it does. But it stops a lot of problems, and it also like keeps people from being able to send email as you. There's also other records out there, right?
Let's stop there. Oh. When would somebody want to send email as you? Right. Well, a good example would be if you had a CRM system and you're sending out invoices, right? You want it to, it's coming from.
Yes.
It's coming from
a server on the
let's
internet.
Say Salesforce on the internet, right? But it's coming as with your name on it, your email address, right? So how can email be coming from this place on the internet, but it's not originating from my email server? That's what SPF does.
Yes. Right? Yep. And it'll say that it's allowed to come from that server and doesn't get blocked up by your spam filter because everybody should have a spam filter. Yeah.
So really, in a perfect world, right? Salesforce should not be able to email me because my email server knows me, right? And so if Salesforce is trying to email as me to me, it shouldn't come through,
right?
Unless you have an SPF record.
Yep. Or another type of record that allows it. Yes.
And it's the same way the other way, right? The other way when it's sending to your customer. That customer can check to see, wait a second, is that email coming from that domain? It's a little difficult to kind of explain it, but that's what it does. It says, hey, this server can send email as me. Right?
That is correct.
Right. So that's the old school way. That's probably the first platform that came out. Now we got some other ones. So what's the next one that came out?
Well, it's just it's just expanding upon the SPF record. So the biggest part is a DMARC record, right? I actually was just looking up what that acronym means, and it's actually domain-based message authentication reporting. So all the DMARC record states is what to do with your message when it's received if it doesn't have the records that you're asking for. You know, so if it doesn't have an SPF record, it could reject or quarantine, or some people put none and it just goes right through.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't have a DKIM record or DKIM record,
Yep.
That's another authentication piece that we could talk about here shortly. But the DMARC record just tells you what to do if that email has the records you're asking for or not.
Yeah, right. So you can either allow it, you can quarantine it, or you can block it or reject it. Yeah, and then now we also have the DKIM, which is coming out where it's actually signing, you know, with certificates, right? It's a certificate-based sign that says that, hey, this email is coming from.
It acts like a client server certificate base. It's not exactly a certificate, but it acts the same way. Like only one side knows the answer to the question. You know what I mean? So then if you send the question, which would be the record that's on the internet, to the server would be like, yep, that's legitimate. But if you sent it to another server, that server would be like, nah, that's not ours. You know, only one server on the entire internet knows the answer to that question, that DKIM record. So it's a little bit more secure way to do it, but it's a little bit more of a pain to set up. But once it's working, it's fine.
Yeah. And so, so, you know, if you're having problems with email, right, where you're not getting your customer's email or they're not getting your email, right, it's one of two things. One side is not configured correctly. So, you know, if you're not getting your customer's email, maybe your side is configured correctly and their side's configured incorrectly, and vice versa. If you're sending an email to somebody and they're not getting it, then your side's screwed up and the other side's probably working right. So, you know, you need to break that down and figure out why it's not getting through. And the only way to do that is to start digging and looking for the reason for being rejected.
Exactly. You get that whole long header of why it was rejected, and you got to go through it. And 9 times out of 10, it's the SPF record.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like you could look at these records for hours, right, and not find a mistake. Or don't think there's a mistake, and there's just one character wrong, and all of a sudden it's just broken.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess as a tip of the week, as a business owner, ask your IT people, or if you're doing it yourself, if you have these records put in. If you have an SPF record and a DKIM record, make sure you also have that DMARC record telling it what to do with it. At least quarantine, because all that's telling the spam server is if it doesn't come from that server that is in that DMARC or DKIM record or in that SPF record, to just put it in quarantine.
Yeah, and if you guys end up searching the internet, right, and you find this video or whatever, and you need help with it, you just have to leave some comments down there, and or go onto our website and, you know, hit us up, and we'll help you figure out what's going on. You know, it doesn't hurt to ask questions, and, you know, sometimes it's a very simple fix.
Yep. Sometimes there's just very simple misconfigurations I see, and we do it all the time. So yeah, we will help. Like we always say, we're here to help.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that'll wrap it up for this session. Again, it's an email session, not getting emails or not receiving emails. It's a huge issue that's easy to fix.
Yep. Always the one I get called first on. I'm not getting emails, or my email's not going out. Yep. There we go.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for visiting us. And if you have any comments, leave them down below.
Yep. Thanks, and see you in 2 weeks.
Unique Computing Solutions. Your IT challenges solved.